Hey everyone, it's your boy Matt. It's 26th of June 2026. I'm making this video to express as clearly as possible that I am a political prisoner. That is the title that needs to be ascribed to me in my situation. I'm facing two kinds of political imprisonment from two different sets of forces. Well, maybe three sets of different forces at the same time. The first set is in association with the Australian Signals Directorate and Army Signals Corps. This is something which I grew up around. I was around Borneo Barracks, which is where all the cyber warfare in Australia was done when I was younger. I spent time doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu with these people, and through that I was involved in a fraternity which was around Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and ended up being involved with a lot of politics and intelligence and the military. And because of my political involvement with that, I am permanently hounded. And because I have been instrumental in our grand strategy, our doctrine, I have political influence over people in the military. And this, there are concerns about me and trying to make sure that I keep my head down. But I'm allowed to be as I am, and there are some pretty big YouTubers in the military space. They also may exert a similar amount of influence. So who's to say that then the government's not going to go after you next? So that's one group which is after me. There's also continuing on. So that's group one. Okay. Now group one can fuck with all of the job ads I apply for. They can fuck with every single communication I have. When I'm having a phone conversation with someone, I don't know if I'm actually having that phone conversation with that person. It could be someone else at the other end. I have always had my phones and all my stuff listened into by other people, and that has been very creepy and quite disturbing, seeing as I was a very private person, until eventually I got to know who these people were, and then I realized that first of all I was under the impression that the people would be looking at my shit would be so much more competent than they are, but like when I figured out who they actually were, I was mortified with how stupid and malevolent and stupid the people who have these powers are in Australia, in signals and army and that. They are really fucking stupid. Oh my god. So that it has not been good being subject to them, because I just get I'm at the receiving end of a lot of aggression, which I don't want to be at the receiving end of. I am at this point. Sorry, I've got a fucking runny nose. With at this point, like just being subject to that for so many years now, it's fucked with me, right? And that's what I was trying to get out of the thumb of to begin with, was to find a way to get out of the thumb of the abuse of these malevolent pricks. That's why I had all the fucking fights with Michael. That's why I had all this bucking. It's been me trying to have these malevolent and stupid fuckwits. It's been trying to get them off my fucking back, because they've been fucking with my life for a long time now. Now, if I'm not being subject to abuse by the signals people, I'm being subject to abuse by police, who have a big stack of paperwork on me for different instances of different situations because I'm behavior managed. Again, I'm a political prisoner. I'm behavior managed because of my advocacy against Humanity Health Group. Before I left, Amanda Mazzoni, actually after I left, and we were doing the original start of Taco, and it was all very wholesome, and it was like we were doing drag, and everyone was getting really into it. During that time, Amanda Mazzoni actually tried to shag me. That actually happened. So when she's turned around and decided that I'm now this big terrible rapist or whatever, remember that that's what she was like to not too long after I was fired. She has these massive mood shifts because for her worldview was always about how special she could possibly feel. And I could kind of get that. Like, I like to feel on top of things and I like to feel special. I get that. But it's to the point where it distorts her reality. Um, and not only that, she would do weird things to make herself feel special. And I found particularly older women fucking younger guys, that's a thing. They want to do that because it helps them feel special, and I kind of get it, right? Um, to be honest, I just enjoy connection. That's my thing. Um, so yeah, I've got this, I've got Humanity Health Group and the police, right? And Humanity Health Group who maneuvered to have my phones constantly screened, mainly Amanda Mazzoni, and who has then also actively gone through the process of creating fake job advertisements for me to apply for. So on the one hand, I'm being controlled by the government, by the spooky side of things, where on the one hand, I'm also now being controlled by Humanity Health Group and the police. And the police have all this bullshit, made up shit by Elizabeth as well. And then my sister also created that situation where I've been fucking thrown into a mental health hospital. So the horror of my situation, which has now been acknowledged as an actual set of things which has happened, is when I was first trying to explain it and explain to the world what was happening to me, people thought I was crazy, but I'm not. My life really is this terrifying. So I've had that. I've had the control of my life by the people at Argyle. Trying to control what they see as an unruly tenant because of Elizabeth's bullshitting. There's this narrative with police and authorities that I'm some kind of terrible tenant, which isn't true. I'm a person who has been subject to some pretty terrible situations in low income living where I'm a politically very famous person, a very politically vulnerable person who has their enemies constantly prod and attack them, right? And I'm never able to get safety and security. I'm never able to be able to have my own place where I can control what people have access to me. It's terrifying when you're this famous and you have like this and you're this politically exposed, right? It's very scary. And I am fucking exceedingly tough. I'm tough as fucking nails, man. I've had to become so because of just the insanity of my situation. Um, so I've got all these different groups, and it's all for politically motivated reasons. For humanity, it's for Signals. It's because there are factions. There are people I was being abused by a person who was running a cult, and I wanted out of the cult, out of the fraternity, and and just the social nature of that fraternity precluded that from happening. Um, and then having the fucking government, the fucking ASD coming down on me, and like having to do all this shit with the SAS and everything in there to prove my legitimacy as a person who's able to advocate for, like, explain what's going on with to the military, right? I had to become so big and change so much stuff to defend myself. I was chased to the top of the food chain. Um, like, I'm not sorry about what I've had to do politically to get there when we're talking about military stuff. Uh, but I was chased there. It's not something where I consciously, like, in my highest fantasy of myself, thought of myself as this senior military strategist in Australia. It wasn't my fantasy to be here. I was chased up here, right? I would not have chosen to go this high, yet here I fucking am, and I do a really good fucking job, so I'm not fucking moving. Um, but there's that. Uh, so it means that I can't really apply for work. I might apply for a job, and it's a situation where I need to be catered to directly. I need the process from me to job to be very streamlined, because I can't describe to a recruiter or anyone what has been going on over the past 2 years. Okay, because I've done some truly incredible and important things, but it makes it very awkward when I go to sit in an interview, because how the fuck do I explain what I've done? And at the same time, it it's something which is potentially broadcast to the world, and I don't want that. I need to have a bit of privacy. Like, I'm in this incredibly awkward situation. Um, yeah,